Thank you very much, General Ijaz Awan. There's a lot of talk, a lot of speculation and expectation associated with the re-election of Donald Trump and what he might have up his sleeves once he gets into the White House. We've been also thinking about what this means for this region, for Pakistan as well as for China, because China still thinks that America, the American establishment, will consider it as its competitor, if not enemy number one. And what will it mean for Pakistan?
Imtiaz, I think this is a very good situation at the moment when Trump has been re-elected. If we see the personality of Trump, he is the doer, he is go-getter, he sees the things in black and white, he is a non-traditional politician, he is experienced because he has already spent 4 years in the White House, and he is not a Pentagon guy or not, he is anti-establishment to say, it's very open and not a secret anymore, he is anti-establishment. If we see these character traits of President Trump, then I think I am seeing, because he had withdrawn forces from Afghanistan earlier, he is likely to call it a day in case of Ukraine and Russian war. And there may be a situation in Gaza where ceasefire-like situation we must witness, because enough genocide has been done and enough killing of over 200,000 Palestinians has already taken place. What else Israel wants to achieve? So I think under these circumstances, there's an opportunity for Pakistan, as I see it. Afghanistan will not be the focus of Trump militarily, or traditional focus, Pentagon-oriented focus would not be there on Afghanistan. So when he has no kinetic designs or no use of force designs against Afghanistan, I think in this window, Pakistan should go for recognition of Afghanistan and open the diplomatic channels and political discourse with the Afghan government, and use its traditional leverages of health, trade, and other facilities to reach out to the Afghan government, because this is the government with whom they entered into dialogue and withdrew from Afghanistan.
Actually, interestingly, the President Trump had said on a couple of occasions that we don't want to deal with Afghanistan. He called it the Afghanistan calamity. And he says that dealing with Afghanistan, sorting out Afghanistan's problems is the responsibility, should be the responsibility of its neighbors, immediate neighbors, and not of the United States.
Yes, I think there is a lot of sense in that. If we think Afghanistan is a base or a cauldron in which the terrorism or violence is taking roots, or it is ensuing from there, in that case, it is the regional countries who have to put their heads together. The neighbor, the geography of Afghanistan, they should come forward. Pakistan, Russia, Iran, Central Asian states, they should sit together and find a solution, because immediate threat is to the neighbors. Immediate advantage would also go to the neighbors. And Afghanistan is not a threat to United States of America anymore. Al-Qaeda is almost decimated. It is not existing in Afghanistan anymore. If Trump sees it that way, I think we should also open our eyes and see it from that angle and reach out to the Afghan people and find a solution to this thing, so that it does not become an epicenter of terrorism or violence from where the neighboring countries are being threatened. So I think there is an opportunity, and Pakistan should take full advantage of this. And that is how it will only become a strategic corridor for North-South trade between China, Central Asia, and Eurasia, and maybe Russia, Afghanistan, and towards Pakistan. And if Trump is true to his words and he wants to compete in the field of economy or financial influence or economic influence, he wants to beat, so he'll fight in that very region and not use the force and kinetic force. So if that is the case, I think there is an opportunity and Pakistan must make use of it.
And with that, another question is related, and that is about China. What does and what would Trump 2 mean for China? Because the expansion of the trade corridors, regional connectivity between North, Central, and South Asia also is being pushed right now by China. But China is considered as the top competitor or enemy by the military establishment, and the military establishment, the CIA had created also a China Mission Center, the primary objective of which was to contain the expanding Chinese influence, and President Biden had called it as the ascendant challenge to the U.S. superiority at the global level. So, what does Trump 2 basically mean for China?
I think most likely Trump would not listen to the Pentagon thinking or CIA thinking, and he would go. Uh, it is expected that he would go softer on China because China's export and American export at this time, both the countries are very competitive, and in the region, if we see Chinese access to Gwadar, to Chabahar, to Djibouti, to Hambantota, and toward Chittagong Harbor. So in this area, China has anchored itself very well for trade through Indian Ocean and in the international waters. So if all these ports are where China has its footprint, it's very difficult to remove this footprint through non-kinetic means and then compete with China. So accepting China as an economic reality, the grounds would be found for economic competition rather than militarily undoing what China has already gained.
Mhm. But how do you see then all these fears and the on ground situation for the Chinese in terms of security? Because the more the Chinese are trying to push uh, and expand their influence economically, they are connecting with the broader regions in Asia, in Africa, uh, and the kind of situation China is facing to its the threats to its interests in Pakistan and Afghanistan, in Iran, in fact, because with Iran it has also struck a number of agreements, and that basically means it could continue inviting the Indian and the U.S. interference in an attempt to contain its expansion.
I think China is well braced for non-military competition anywhere. They are very competitive, and whatever they have invested in the region, particularly in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, and in China, there is no going back as far as China is concerned. China cannot disengage and wind up these projects and start or look for new openings. China has invested a great deal in Pakistan. Our interests coincide in many areas. We need each other. Pakistan needs a veto power that would stand besides Pakistan under all circumstances, and assured support of a veto power is needed for Pakistan for all practical purposes. So, if that is the convergence of interest, I think it is in the interest of both to work together and address the security concerns of each other. China has the money to invest, we need it, and China needs the shortest approach to the warm waters and to the Arabian Sea that Pakistan can provide. So Pakistan should come out of that confusion of strategic orientation, I would say, and choose sides without annoying the others and go ahead. They take major decisions, bold decisions, serving the interest of the people of Pakistan. You know it better than I do that in Afghanistan, for copper exploration, for oil, Amu-based oil exploration, and for other development of minerals, they have already entered into many agreements with the Afghan government. They have signed $450 billion agreement with China spread over with Iran spread over 25 years. So China is not easily going to wind up all this and going to go out of the region. So if the competition remains non-kinetic, non-military competition, then in that case, these 4 years of Trump, I would take them as an opportunity for China, for Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan to anchor themselves well and go ahead with to serve the strategic interest of each other and serve the people of Pakistan and China both, so that we arrive somewhere. And these 4 years are an opportunity. That's how I see it.
Yeah, that makes a fantastic summation of our conversation. It appears you're also optimistic as much as many others that Trump's 4 years might see the softening or easing of the geostrategic competition that we have seen associated with the Sino-American conflict or tensions spread across the region. And we in Pakistan have also seen the impact of that strategic competition. So let's hope
Even
that
India, if you allow me to say, even India, which is doing over $100 billion annual trade with with the trade deficit of 87%, China is not in a position to wind up its relation with India is not in a position to wind up its relation with China, nor China is going to let them lose that big market. So when India is hedging and making the best of all available opportunities, it is interacting with the America, it is trading with Russia, it is trading with Iran, it is trading with China. So when they are doing the best to serve their people, what stops Pakistan to not to be very clear in its strategic orientation and serve the people of Pakistan? So I think a very visionary approach is needed, and this window of 4 years must be made the best use of.
Okay, thank you very much
Thank you.
for this fantastic conversation, and let's stay optimistic. And we all hope that the next 4 years would be less turbulent in terms of geo-strategic competition and perhaps open new avenues, more avenues for strategic cooperation in economy, in trade. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.